Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah ma ba'd. Is there anything in Islam from the Quran and the Sunnah that a person can do when they move into a new premises? They bought a new house and they want to move in, or maybe they're renting a premises and they're moving home. Basically they're moving into a new premises. Is there anything from the Quran and the Sunnah that a person can say or do in order to welcome themselves into that new home? In order to answer this question, we have to look at the Messenger of Allah himself. He moved from Mecca to Medina. When he moved to Medina, it's not been reported that he had any particular prayer or any particular action that he did when he established his new home in Medina. Therefore, the ulama have said when a person moves into his new home, he would do what he would normally do in his home itself. Does that make sense? In the sense that if you own a house for one day, or 1 year, or 10 years, or 100 years, it makes no difference as to what you would say and what you would do when you go into that home. And in order for us to understand this also principally, there's a principle in usul al-fiqh. I don't want to complicate it too much. Al-mufrad al-mudaf tufid al-umum. Al-mufrad al-mudaf tufid al-umum. Meaning, your house, my house, whatever is classified as your house takes the ruling of your house. Therefore, the things that you would do when you move into your house would be the same things that you would do when you go into your house for the first time, for the millionth time. So what you would normally do when you go into your home, that is what you would do when you come into your house for the very first time. Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, when you enter into your home and you say Bismillah, the shayateen run away and they say to one another, La mubit lana wala asha, we don't have anywhere to stay tonight, we have nowhere to eat tonight. So one of the things that you can do when you move into your new home, say Assalamu alaikum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَإِذَا دَخَلْتُمْ when you enter into your home, فَسَلِّمُوا عَلَى أَنفُسِكُمْ تَحِيَّةٌ مُبَارَكَةٌ طَيِّبَةٌ Enter into your home and give yourselves the greeting, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is tayyib, mubarak, it is good and it is blessed. So that's another thing that you could do. Enter into your home, say Bismillah. Enter into your home, say Assalamu alaikum upon yourselves, even if there is no one there. Another thing that a person can do, and this has been suggested by Sheikh Muhammad Salih al-Uthaymeen rahimahullah, is that when you enter into your home, say Bismillah alladhi la yadurru ma'a ismihi shay'un fil ard wa la fis sama' wa huwa as-sami'ul 'alim. This is well known in the morning and the evening adhkar. You can go back to this in the Fortress of a Muslim. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, anyone who says that and he settles in that place, la yadurruhu shay'a, nothing will harm him in the slightest. Also, from the things that a person can say when he moves into his home, or do when he moves into his home, is to recite Surah Al-Baqarah. لأن الشيطان, because the shaitan يفر من بيت تقرأ فيه Surah Al-Baqarah. Shaitan runs away from a house where Surah Al-Baqarah is recited in. Also, from the things that a person can say to preserve himself is say Ma sha Allah la quwwata illa billah. This is well known that you find it in Surah Al-Kahf. When you entered into your premises, when you entered into your garden, if only you said Ma sha Allah la quwwata illa billah, then you would not have seen it become destroyed. There's also a hadith of the Messenger of Allah said, anyone who says Ma sha Allah la quwwata illa billah upon his wealth, on his family, on his possessions, on anything which is good that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him, فَيَرَى فِيهَا آفَ دُونَ الْمَوْتِ, he will not see anything which is of a calamity befall him in that except death. This is a hadith in Tabarani and it's been made sahih by Shaykh al-Albani. There is no harm, inshallah, if a person was to pray 2 rak'at, because praying 2 rak'at brings about barakah, but this is not for the sake of entering the home. This is very important that we understand that if a person enters into his home and he starts moving into his home with acts of worship, inshallah that is khair, but that is not 2 rak'at of moving into your home. And perhaps we can see this from the narration of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anh. Whenever he used to return home from wherever he used to be, he used to pray 2 rak'at. And it's been narrated from others from the Salaf as well. So this is an issue of flexibility, but if a person was to pray to rak'at thinking that this is what he must do, as part of his housewarming and welcoming, then this has not been narrated at all. But if a person was to pray to rak'at, inshallah khair. Another part of the question here that the question is asking though, what about offering a sacrifice? What about having a celebration? And he is from India, the questioner, and he is saying that this is what the Hindus do in his location, or people who follow another religion other than Islam. Maybe it's not just the Hindus. In this regard, we will say that a person should avoid these kind of things. Even if these things may be permissible, having a walima, having a sacrifice an animal and calling people because it's a joyous occasion, all of these things are fine. But if a person does this because he wants to be like them, or maybe he doesn't even want to be like them, but it is seen as if that he is like them, then that definitely a person should avoid that. However, if there is no fear of that, then inshallah these things are permissible. Having, slaughtering an animal and having a walima and calling people to come over and eat so that they can see you in your house and they can share in your joy, etc. There is no harm in that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِتَأَذَنَ رَبُّكُمْ لَإِنْ شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. If you give shukr to me, then I will increase you. And this is a form of shukr, that a person invites people and shares his joy with other people, and he talks about the favors of Allah when they come over and say, look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided me, etc. However, like we have said, we have to make it to be clear that if this involves imitation, or it is feared that it will involve imitation, then man tashabbaha biqawmin fahuwa minhum. Anyone who resembles a nation, then he is of them. These are certain things that a person can do. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He blesses us in everything that He gives us, and that He makes our houses fortresses upon iman and taqwa. Wallahu a'lam wa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.